It's Wednesday, May 7th, 2014. I'm Ariel Nunez, and from our CBS studios in New York City, welcome to the 404.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to the 404 show. I'm Jeff Bacalar.
I'm Justin Yu.
Hope you guys are having a great day today. We sure are. We got a lot of stories to get to and some emails, some interactions.
Yeah.
And what do we got going on today, man?
I liked the show yesterday.
I did too.
One, because I didn't have to deal with it. But two, it
Yeah.
was just a really funny episode.
I thought it was too, right?
I didn't realize he was going to kind of break your balls that much. The first time Mark Maron was on the show, he seemed kind of nice. He was really low-key. And I feel like this second time around, the fact that he was a little bit meaner is a good thing for him. That probably means he was trying to run you through the ringer because he likes you. And you could clearly take it.
Well, that's what I would... I mean, that's how I'm like
Or he's just a
rationalizing
dick.
it. Well, he's definitely like that's
Probably a
he's
little from column
prickly.
A,
He's prickly,
column B.
right?
Yeah.
He's a little rough, but like I'll be totally honest. Yesterday was one of my favorite interviews I've ever done.
Really?
Definitely. I had so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people emailed and they were like, it was good. It was
Kind of
really
awkward.
Good. I don't know about awkward, but
some people were saying it was kind of awkward. I think because if you don't know who Mark Maron is, then you're like, why is this guy caring so much about what's behind the table?
Sure.
He kind of blew us up.
It was funny though.
It was really funny. And he found my contact solution, which I've actually been looking for.
Nice. That's good. At least someone got something positive out of that.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it, and I thought it was awesome. Like I said, I don't think I've had more fun interviewing somebody, and I don't know. Maybe people like didn't get it, where it was sort of this like joshing around thing.
Yeah.
But you're totally right. Like I only really bust balls with people who I like, and that's all I do. Like for my friends, all I do is make fun of them. I don't even like care. Like I don't even ask them how they're doing. It's just nonstop making fun.
That's how his podcast is too.
Sure.
Basically, sitting down for an interview with Mark Maron is like getting into a fight with your girlfriend or boyfriend or your SO, whatever.
I'd much rather interview Mark Maron than fight with my
It's like
other.
it always starts off really angry and you say things you don't mean, and then eventually towards the end of the 45-minute interview you just start feeling like okay, what are we both going to work on?
Look, I mean, I know it was all good spirited because he wrote me after and he said he's like, that was fun. He's like, I'm a ball buster. You could take it. That's great.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I had a blast. I really can't be any happier with how that went. So go back to yesterday's show and listen to it. And I got emails from people who said like, look, I've never listened to your show on Twitter. I got messages. I've never listened to your show, but that was great.
Oh, cool.
So it's not. So if we can get one new listener from yesterday,
man,
that's all I care about.
If I had been sitting up here, if it was me or Ariel, I feel like we would have pulled the Jack Black in High Fidelity and just taken one of these microphones and shocked him in the face with it.
But that's like the thing. Like I knew nothing went off course yesterday. Like nothing happened yesterday where I was like, oh, that was a curveball. I wasn't prepared for that.
Well, you can't let too much time pass after his insult before your comeback. That's the thing.
I thought I was keeping up with him, right?
Yeah, you're doing really well.
I think I did. I think that was like the best part of that.
It was fine, and you can probably hear my laughter in the background
of that
episode, which is either good or bad.
I heard it while we were shooting.
Yeah, like it or not, I'm there.
But seriously, such a blast. I had such a good time with him. Go back and listen to yesterday's show. All right, back to reality. What do we have cooking today?
All right. So today we have a bunch of stories I'm really excited to talk about. We're going to talk about zapping your brain with spark plugs to improve your video gaming skills.
Okay,
totally normal.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Then we're going to talk about how Jack Black is planning to single-handedly bring everybody back to vinyl. I'm really excited to talk about that.
Jack White.
What did I say?
You said Jack Black.
That's a second Jack Black reference.
Yeah, you had High Fidelity on the
Jack
brain.
White.
Yeah.
Although Jack Black is very talented.
He is. He's a great musician.
Then we're going to talk about a startup that's straining the relationship between the rich and the poor even more in San Francisco. That's already a really strained relationship. But they're basically auctioning off public spaces.
Okay.
We'll tell you how they're doing that and why people are pissed off about it. Then we'll talk about some video game news. Nintendo continues to post devastating losses.
This is bad.
Really bad.
Really bad.
So in advance of E3, which is coming up, we're going to talk about maybe what we can expect from the company. And then we're going to finish up a story about Ed Boon, who's the creator of Mortal Kombat. He's been tweeting out some sort of mysterious numbers.
Right.
We've been talking about like cryptography lately and numbers and things. So
he's doing his own thing.
An extra mystery for you guys at the end of the episode today.
Great. And then some emails we'll get to if we can.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive right in.
Yeah. All right. So electroshock therapy. You haven't really heard about it in a while.
It's usually frowned upon.
Usually frowned upon, but still being used to treat depression and schizophrenia.
Is it?
Didn't realize that.
You sure?
Yeah.
In this country?
In this country, yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's done with a lot of anesthesia and clinicians looking around at you to make sure you're okay.
Okay.
It's not a DIY thing. You don't just shock yourself.
Yeah, they don't like make you chomp down on a wooden spoon.
No. It's
And
way
say,
back in the
like,
day.
Yeah, I keep seeing the vision of like American Horror Story
Yeah.
in my head when I hear shock therapy.
Wait, I haven't watched that particular
The second
episode.
season, they did that a lot.
They just hook people up to like
Yeah,
a
it was like
chair.
this crazy insane asylum, and they thought they could like shock the madness out of people.
Right. I think it works. I don't know if it's a placebo thing or just forcing people to concentrate, but
Right.
either way, hobbyists, right? They're always trying to take a DIY approach to things. And in this case, a small group of interested parties, they're learning how to zap their own brains using, this sounds crazy, but a battery with alligator clips connected to a circuit and 2 kitchen sponges. Those sponges are attached to a simple sweatband, that you could buy at any sports store.
Okay.
They rig that up, put it on their head, and then using that battery, they'll actually send electrical pulses into their own brain.
You don't want to do that.
And this is funny.
image.
This picture
It's
looks
great.
ridiculous.
He's just like, I love being shocked.
Yeah. And that's the thing is when you imagine people doing this, I don't know, for me, I'm always imagining like some like meth head or coke head in a basement somewhere in the middle of America. But this is actually professionals. It's like sort of middle-aged professionals that's being profiled here in this homebrew.
So, I mean, I think it's fair that we separate like, electroshock therapy
Yeah.
from DIY like brain stimulation. Like one thing, like if you've ever gone through physical therapy, there's, what do they call that machine?
Oh, the chiropractic machine where they strap the thing that like stimulates your muscles.
Right. Like
Bruce
that's
Lee
what
used
we're
to
kind of
use that,
talking
too.
about here.
Sort of, yeah.
We're not talking about actual like yada like that.
Yeah.
That's an extreme.
like the Looney Tunes version.
Right.
Yeah.
And like it's not like you don't like take
There's
it
no
off and there's like
steam coming-
smoke
right.
coming from your skull.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So there's a big difference here.
Yeah, so we're talking about 2 milliamps of electricity, which is less than a 9-volt battery.
Right. And anyone who's ever licked a 9-volt battery before,
That's perfectly healthy.
just saying, my childhood was weird.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
So you're basically sending 2 milliamps of electricity through the part of your brain that controls reaction time, which is the
Right.
prefrontal cortex, among other things besides reaction. And what we're talking about here is hopefully with doing this, and this is what a lot of the proponents of it say, that it can help with memory loss or things like rapid learning. If you have a big test coming up and you're a student, you can shock yourself into studying better. And some are taking it to alleviate chronic pain, depression, even things like stroke recovery. If you're losing movement or things like that, they're hoping that shock therapy can help with alongside physical therapy. And it's working. A lot of academic papers, and that's what this Wired article is talking about. Scientists and doctors are starting to consider it, again, as a significant way to research alternative health methods. But they're sort of some are taking it upon themselves to build a community out of it and even try to make money on it.
Yeah, that's always what's going to happen. They're going to be like, oh, this will cure your XYZ.
Yeah. Yeah, so click on this other link that I put in the rundown. When I talk about others capitalizing on it, I found this one product in my research for this, and it's called the, let's see, where was that?
Is it
here?
the transcranial direct current stimulation for gamers?
Yeah, so it's called the Focus. And you can go to foc.us, the Focus.
Oh, Focus, we're in trouble.
Focus.
Yeah.
And so they're basically capitalizing on what they call TDCS, that
Right.
transcranial direct current stimulation.
Okay.
And you can see it in this picture here. The company is marketing an electroshock headset for gamers.
What the
It's basically a headband that, attached to those frontal lobes to increase the plasticity of your brain and make synapses fire faster by overclocking it, hopefully reducing your reaction times and increasing your skill level in playing video games.
Okay, let's be honest. How many of these have they sold?
A lot.
No way.
Yes.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What are you doing buying a shock machine for video games?
Well, so they had a first round of funding, right? And they were offering pre-orders. They sold out the first batch of 300,000. Then there was a second batch of 300,000. They also manufactured after that. Those all sold out immediately too, and now you can pre-order a third.
The hell's our logo doing there?
Yeah, we've written about it too. That's the scary part.
What pisses me off is that they're passing it off as overclocking your brain.
Yeah. It's basically like we've talked about transhumanism in the past, is making yourself sort of a machine cyborg.
Right.
This is the first step in that. The cool thing about this is the way they market it. So not only do they say that while you wear the headband and you're playing, it'll increase your skill level, when you take it off, your brain sort of remains in this neuroplasticity mode, which means even after you remove it, your brain is still hardwired to learn faster, according to what their marketing says.
Okay.
So it sounds kind of cool, you know, if you can increase your intelligence even after you take it off.
It's more reaction time, right?
Reaction time, yeah, technically. I think the thing that's worth noting here is that they're able to skirt FDA policies by advertising it as a video game accessory. And so a lot of DIY TDCS proficients are using this, but not for video games. They're using it to increase their memory or for the stroke stuff, everything we talked about earlier. And it's not expensive either. It's $250.
No, that's expensive.
Is that expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, it's less than the
to overclock
Rift.
your brain?
It's less than the Oculus.
But there's nothing that they're totally
if it works,
different products.
then I mean, I don't know. Talk about just video game accessories in general.
I just don't like the way they're advertising.
Yeah.
They're saying, use the force. Let the force of electricity excite your neurons into firing faster. Okay, when I read that, I read, shock your brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something I want to do.
Yeah, and with an iPhone app that's connected to it by Bluetooth.
30-day money-back guarantee, so if you are not completely a vegetable by the end of the month, you can get your money back.
The technology isn't necessarily what worries me. It's how small the manual is and the fact that people can control this themselves.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much room for error here. The first death is going to be coming really soon.
Really? Whoa, I don't know if we should say that.
I don't know. I mean, like, what if you get wet or something and you're using this? Would that fry your brain? Or it could all just be BS, right? Like, maybe the electroshocks aren't enough to do anything.
I think that's the case.
Effect.
No, I definitely think that's the case.
Yeah.
Right? This is like the equivalent of, like, those bracelets people wear.
Right. Well,
they
to
think,
like help their balance.
Yeah, they think there's like some magnet, like the polar magnets of the planet are going to make them like, you know, walk better.
Yeah, you've seen the people in malls, like kiosks that have those on, and they do like a series of tests, like, oh, look, check it out. I can't push your arm down now that you're wearing this band.
Right, exactly.
But it's because they've already pushed your arm down once, so you know the force.
I mean, we're in agreement that this is like the same category, right?
Maybe. I mean
I don't know. Like, if I'm going to buy this BS that they're shoveling, I'm going to need testimonies from like MIT people.
Yeah, right.
Where they're like, yep. Freaking makes you susceptible to learn better and have faster reaction time.
You could say that
I don't need some bozo being like,
if you're like pulling an all-nighter and it's 4 a.m, then a couple of electroshocs to keep your focus is probably going to do you good, even if it doesn't do anything to your brain. Look, just to keep you paying attention and not falling asleep.
I put this in the same category as the magnetic bracelets, which are complete bullshit, and the stuff where like people, I once had a friend who wanted to quit smoking.
Oh, yeah?
And he tried. He couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he went and got shocked.
Oh, okay.
From like a guy in Queens.
Yeah, just some...
Right? So like some guy in a garage with Queens. And he explained to my friend that the nicotine receptors are located conveniently behind your earlobe. And he got shocked. Yeah. Right? And he got shocked. Right. It's like, I need to stop smoking. It's not... Clearly, that's bullshit. But it's not the fact that your receptors are in your ear. It's the fact that you are doing something traumatic. And you are, like, introducing this very radical and unconventional process into your life that I think acts as what you said, a placebo effect, and says, oh, okay, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to do whatever, or my brain's going to fire quicker.
Or it develops this response to where, like, if you every time you think about smoking, you're going to remember this pain that you felt, and maybe that would.
But it's not even pain. Like he said, it didn't
hurt at all.
It was like that massaging thing for the physical therapy.
Yeah,
what is that called? Why? It's some sort of like stimulus.
I know what you mean. I have no idea.
They used to sell it as a workout thing.
Yeah.
They
Bruce
would like
Lee
work
used to use it to build up his
abs out. You just put patches and like you could sit on the couch, eat popcorn, and be working out.
Yeah, does that work?
No, it doesn't work.
If that worked, everybody would be buying.
But I guess there is some sort of benefit in physical therapy.
Yeah, definitely for people that have tight muscles or things like that from sitting in a office chair all day.
Right.
That might be BS too. I don't know about
be.
chiropractic work. I feel like the entire practice of chiropractic work is BS.
Well, you're not going to really hear a big argument from me on that.
I mean, both of us have seen a lot of chiropractors for different reasons.
No, I've never been.
Oh,
to
you
one.
haven't seen
No.
one? Because we've talked about this in the
Stace
past.
went to one.
I've been
and
to
like
a
10
bunch of
minutes
them.
into the appointment, I like leaned over and I'm like, Stace, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know, but it's free, so I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah, it'd be better if they didn't all have that like soft Asian music playing with like the waterfall going on.
And like dream catchers everywhere.
Yeah, like they didn't take the holistic approach with it and just went full on clinical, full clinical
Like,
with it.
There's not enough dudes wearing white lab coats.
Yeah,
in there.
that would make it a little bit more confidence.
Like if you're going to lie to me, give me the whole package.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sell it to me.
Yeah, don't wear a kimono when you come out.
Exactly. And don't like say like before you enter my room, you got to take off my shoes and like wash my hands in this special water.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. The machine, I feel like they just hook you up to that so they don't have to be in the room to see you react to the bullshit.
Yeah, it's not good. Either way, we're chalking up this stuff to the same category. It's not going to kill you, but it isn't doing anything. You want a big stimulus? You want a big kick in the ass? Drink a double espresso. That is guaranteed to make you more responsive and a little more hyper.
Right.
Like that's like when I need to pick me up before a hockey game, I take a shot of espresso. And yeah, it works. It's probably going to explode my heart, but either way,
every once in a while,
getting that desired result.
Yeah. A little bit of Ritalin never hurt anybody either.
That I can't endorse.
Okay.
Caffeine I can.
So that's transhumanism. Let's move on to a subject a little less serious. Jack White. So Jack White has a label called Third Man Records, right? And anybody who's read stuff about the White Stripes or Jack White's record label, Third Man, he's all about vinyl. I mean, he's really single-handedly pushing it back into the mainstream. So what's really cool about this record label, Third Man, is that apparently they don't put out CDs at all. You can't buy CDs of any of their albums. Just records or digital releases only.
All right, I feel like that's what it should be now.
Yeah, and he's like putting out 45 still. He's putting out singles. It's really cool stuff. But we're talking about his next album that he just announced called Lazaretto. Mm-hmm. It's coming out on May 10th, so pretty soon. And last month, they'd previously announced a special package version called The Vault version. That included special artwork and a 40-page hardbound book, some really cool extras. But now they've announced an even crazier Ultra LP version. That's what they're calling it.
It's cool.
The Ultra LP version, that's seriously for the biggest vinyl geek in your life. So Arya, I think you might be stoked about this as much as I am. So there's a video that goes along with this announcement. It takes Jack White 9 minutes and 10 seconds for him to describe all of the specific details and features you'll get with it. But I'm going to break it down with you because nobody wants to watch a 10-minute video about that.
Especially if Jack White.
Yeah. Here are the coolest things about it. First, the weird thing about this vinyl is that side A actually has backward grooves. So you start the record off by playing it closest to the label.
Okay.
Right? Normally you would start on the edge. Side A starts towards the label.
You'd still have to play it in reverse.
And then it comes back out.
Okay.
Which is cool. I mean, the songs itself aren't in reverse, just how it appears on the record.
Okay. To me, that's pointless.
Well, okay.
There's like nothing cool about that.
Really?
Well, it's like it changes nothing.
Here's why it's cool.
Okay.
Because you know how
tell me why it's cool.
You know how like on the last song when you put it closest to the label, once the record finishes on one side, it kind of just continues to loop back and forth.
Right.
It's called a locked groove.
Right.
And the locked groove is normally there so that the needle doesn't just jump out onto the label.
You don't ruin the needle.
Yeah. So it just kind of continues back and forth on this locked groove. Well, he put the locked groove on side A on the outermost edge. And then he put a little sound bite on that. So once you get to the edge of side A, which is on the outermost, it'll kind of just play this infinite loop of a little soundbite.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
But you could do that in the middle too.
You could do that in the middle too,
Right.
but just the fact that it kind of plays from the inside out
He's
just
being
looks
fancy.
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
You got.
But you do have to have the record go in the opposite direction. right?
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
it?
So the record, I think the record goes in the opposite.
Is that
direction. No,
Mario?
I don't think it does.
No, it sounds like it's just the way it was cut.
Yeah.
So that it.
Oh, so the groove will follow.
Yeah, it still goes
regardless.
clockwise.
So it's
Yeah.
same direction.
Right, it just goes from the inside to the outer edge. Kind of confusing to explain, but that's pretty cool. It'll play that little tone forever. Here's the other thing. So on side 2, when you flip it over, the first song on side 2 actually has 2 different intros that lead into the same part in the middle.
That's cool.
The first part is acoustic. The second part is electric. So depending on where you drop the needle on the outermost groove or the one directly next to it, you'll either hear the intro played electrically with amps or acoustically with an acoustic guitar. It's really cool. So no matter what you do, no matter which you choose, they'll eventually converge into the middle of the song.
That's awesome. Like
and
train
it plays
tracks.
it normally. Yeah, really awesome.
That's rad.
And then finally, this is, I think, the coolest thing. There's actually 2 hidden tracks underneath the center label on both sides of the record.
Wow.
So if you drop the needle directly onto the paper itself, it'll play these hidden songs through the paper.
It'll play it through the paper?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
What?
But here's the even nuttier thing is one side of the hidden track is 78 RPMs. Right?
Okay.
Normally a record's played at 33 RPMs. This one plays at 78 RPMs. But when you flip it over, the other hidden track on side B is 45 RPMs. So this record altogether technically has 3 speeds you can play it
It's
at.
got 3 speeds.
Yeah, 3.
That's amazing.
So nuts, right?
It's very cool. I mean, he's clearly on like this vinyl kick.
Yeah.
But I'm into it. I don't know a lot of people who still have record players.
Yeah, I mean, for those who do have record players, I feel
the
like the
novelty
appeal
for
is that
yeah.
it's the novelty is in paying more attention to it, having all the details you get with the labels and the artwork and the inserts. This just adds way more fun to it, and it's only $20.
Yeah, that's pretty
So you can
neat.
pre-order it for $20. That's less than the cost for what you would pay at a lot of used vinyl stores.
Only Jack White can get away with this.
Yeah,
Right?
so cool.
It's funny you bring that up because I was looking today at one of my favorite bands, Mastodon, and they have their new record they're doing like this massive pre-release for, and it's like a $70 thing, and it's 2 LPs.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'm just like, everyone's into that movement now
Yeah,
again.
it's cool because a lot of those albums will come with a ticket to the show in your
Right.
city. So you'll get both. And then when you go to the show itself, a lot of the merch tables will include special pressed vinyl, like colored vinyl sold only at that show. That's pretty cool too.
It is cool. I mean, I don't know.
I'm just a fan of anything limited edition. Like when you say something is limited edition, I will buy it. I don't care if
Right.
it's 1 of 2 million. I'll still get into it as long as it's labeled so.
I just, I don't know if I'm like, ready to like change the whole way I listen to music around.
Yeah. It does feel good to start paying for music finally.
Oh,
like
I
we
know
got
I'm
not
paying
maybe
for
not we,
music.
our generation, I will say, to keep it broad, got away with not paying for music for 20 years, 25 years. So yeah, if you could put a little bit of money back
So
into
is that what it is?
It's
It's just like this whole big guilt thing?
yeah, basically. I feel like I'm taking it off my shoulders one record at a
This
time.
doesn't absolve you of all your freaking transgressions.
Not
from
me,
previous
us,
years.
our.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of these bands are doing that, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was super intrigued when I saw the Mastodon thing. Look at this; it's like 280 gram LP vinyls, 4 exclusive lithographs derived from album artwork,
Yeah,
and then you get the CD as well.
the digital version. Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty rad, man.
That's
That's
a
so
crazy looking cover.
Right? Oh my god, look at the artwork is bonkers.
Wow.
Jesus.
Christ.
All the drugs in the world can't explain where this came from.
Wait, go up a little bit.
awesome.
Does it say that you're gonna get an advance copy of the next release they put out?
No.
What
so
does that mean?
So you'll get, you get the 2. So you're getting 2 records, right? That's what the 2 180 gram LP means, right?
Yeah. What does that
You get-
bottom note say? Download of another album.
So
you
you'll
just
get
another.
another. So they'll give you a digital version of one of the songs before it's released.
So the next single on this record.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
$70 though. That's a lot of money, right?
Yeah, well, 2 records.
It doesn't have 9 minutes worth of features like Jack White's.
Exactly.
It's just very cool, man. I'm into it. Rad.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it.
So what's next? You want to talk about San Francisco?
I do. I think this is really awesome.
Man, not only is that place literally sinking into the ground, it's also sinking economically right now. It's not a good place to be in San Francisco unless you have a ton of money.
Yeah, it's super expensive there. It's starting to make New York look affordable.
Yeah, The rent is actually cheaper in New York than it is in San Francisco.
I never thought I'd see the day where another city's having cheaper rent. But
Me neither. So listen to this. An Italian company is testing a new service in SF called Monkey Parking. And Monkey Parking lets drivers auction off their parking spot before they leave through an app. So if you're about to leave a busy mall or something, before you back out of the parking spot, you fire up this app. You can charge anywhere between $5 and $20. There's buttons for each denomination. You just hit $20, then everyone else gets to see the open parking spots for sale in your area. If you're sick of looking for one, just hit that 20, and then it'll link up between your phones, and you're ready to pull in after that.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, basically. And it may be illegal.
I don't know if it's illegal. It doesn't. To me, this doesn't matter if it's illegal.
Yeah,
because it's kind of silly.
There's a lot to find.
But it's a pyramid scheme because if this were like pervasive everywhere, you would just get the money back from selling your spot after. But then the last guy would get jacked when the demand for parking goes down because there's no one willing to pay for his or her spot.
Or I could just see it becoming a thing where people just go and hoard parking spots before like a big game or something. Like I'll say a playoffs game for the Giants.
Sure.
Like, yeah, they would just go and take 20 spots and auction them off. Makes,
It's pretty bad. It is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do. Like I get it. It's like taking the whole, I call it like the web 3.0 with like Uber and Fresh Direct and all that stuff. Like you're taking that and you're like exploiting that to the end of its,
Yeah, it's like commodifying every part of your life. It's like Airbnb,
for everything.
For everything. Yeah,
like I'm about to inhale some oxygen. Would you like to buy the exhale? It's like, all right,
coming soon to
okay,
Beijing.
son of a bitch, right? Or that's coming to Beijing.
Yeah.
We have 1 cubic foot of free clean air. Get out of here.
It.
What if I'm coming out of the mall and whatever happened to the whole, like, I'm going to follow this guy to his car. The guy's going to be like, nope, I already sold it to that Buick behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what if you pull up to a spot and it's a compact and you have a truck and you've already paid $20 for it?
Oh, you're really splitting hairs here.
Like,
yeah, what if you get swooped?
Yeah, that always happens. I've done that to people before.
You dick. Oh, you're the worst kind of driver.
Come on, I've never done that.
Yes, you have.
No, I don't drive.
The first step is admitting it.
I think for the city, they're worried that it's going to take money away from potential spots with parking meters.
Yeah.
And the parking meter money is used to go back into the infrastructure for the city to build more lanes and things like that.
Well, that's where Parking Monkey, the worst name
Monkey Parking.
It doesn't matter. It's the worst name ever.
Yeah.
It is the worst name you've ever come up with.
Yeah.
Italian company. It's terrible. They should give a cut back to the city of San Francisco if they don't want to look like total assholes.
People are already so pissed off about corporate buses from Google and things like this, Genentech, parking in where the Muni buses pull up to pick people up. They're already pissed about that, and then Silicon Valley in general boosting the prices of rent and stuff like that.
So what we're saying is move to San Francisco. That's what we're saying.
You're going to get into a fight coming back from the airport.
That's the takeaway.
It's getting insane over there.
It's nuts.
Man, when I was in Singapore, by the way, side note on parking, they have parking down to a science there. It's very organized. So every structure you have or parking lot, whether it's public or private, they all have a digital sign, a marquee in the front that shows you exactly how many spots are left.
Brilliant.
And then when you pull in, there are arrows that are directing you to the closest spot to you.
More brilliant.
Yeah, and then that number ticks down, but each spot also has lights above them that turn red or green depending on if they're full or empty, so you can see immediately, even if you don't have a sign in front of you.
I've seen stuff like that. It looks like this, genius. Right? It looks like this a little bit. Little green spot over the brilliant. This is why we can't have nice things.
It's so
why the
easy.
F is this not here in this country? Why is this not in New York, the hardest place on earth to park a car?
Yeah, and they're everywhere too.
I don't.
So it's great. You don't have to worry about pulling in somewhere and finding or looking
and circling. Maybe that's why it's called Parking Monkey, because you feel like a monkey after you've circled a lot so many times. Still the worst name ever. Man, it's not really good to be Nintendo these days.
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse and worse, and they just put out their earnings. Last 12 months, Nintendo has lost $457 million. The Wii U has only sold 2.72 million units in the last 12 months. At this rate, they could potentially run out of cash. It used to be like, oh, they have so much cash in the bank, it doesn't matter, they could do this for 50 years. Now that it's exponentially rising in terms of losses, they can really see like a wall at the end of this tunnel.
That is insane. So last quarter, Nintendo sold how much? 310,000?
Yeah.
Wii U's.
Which is not a lot.
Contrast that to the PlayStation 4, which sold 7 million since last November.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's insane. The 3DS is doing pretty well, but you know, they're only forecasting 3.6 million Wii U sales in this current fiscal year.
I wonder if it's an issue with marketing and not just television commercials. Because you see a lot of those, but
it's across the board.
Yeah, so I went into GameStop the other week for my friend to buy Mortal Kombat, and I noticed that all of the advertisements were for Titanfall or were for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and then they had like a very, very small Wii U section.
Well, there's no games.
Yeah, and then there were no games for it at all. In addition to just not being demoed either. You know, like there were consoles for both of those, but there was no Wii U demo. I don't know. I'm sure maybe that's like a very small part of it, but you think it's a marketing deal?
I think it's everything. I think the games are not worth paying $50 for. I think the software on the system sucks in terms of like the firmware. It's a big clunky controller that has terrible battery life and is completely alienating to anyone who picks it up. It was debuted in an awful way. It was debuted too early, in my opinion. People didn't know, the way they described it to the press. People didn't realize, if it was a Wii attachment or a brand new console altogether. More of the mainstream media outlets didn't get it. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And I don't think there's a way to save Wii U. If I'm Nintendo, I mean, they've got a few highly anticipated games coming down the pike. They have Zelda coming out and maybe one or two other gems, like another Mario game.
Smash Brothers
is coming out later this year. They're in a lot of trouble. I say pull the plug on Wii U.
Yeah?
Yeah, I say focus on the 3DS, the one thing that does appear to continue to make money, and just cut your losses, because at this point it's worse because they're still like in denial about it, especially when we meet with them and they're like, here's why Wii U's future is bright. And it's just like, no, man, it's not. It really isn't. Yeah, I don't know. Like my child, if I told like 12-year-old, 10-year-old Jeff this was going to happen in 2014, he'd cry for a few days.
It's got to be an issue with simplicity, right? I feel like everybody likes Nintendo because it's easy to play. You could just pick up a game like a Mario game and know how to play it. Yeah. But with this, there's such a big learning curve.
They're going through like an identity crisis right now. They're not competing with Nintendo, with Sony and Microsoft. They're just not in their league anymore.
Yeah.
They bail out at E3 press conferences 2 years in a row now. And people are sort of wondering like what their saving grace, what their move is, and I don't think they know either.
Speaking of finances, I read an article about how Sony is actually really close to just getting bankrupt. All of Sony, with the Sony gaming division, the only one that's turning a profit with record sales.
You're talking about like electronics and
but yeah, their televisions, for example, their music has gone down. I read one report that there's about 75% close to going bankrupt in the next few years.
That's crazy.
Which could lead to a sale of the Sony gaming division
off to someone else.
Maybe Nintendo
should buy
maybe
it.
Microsoft.
Well, look, that was always like this amazing theory, like, oh, Nintendo should just merge with like Google or
or Apple
or whatever it is, and then that's the thing. And they're like we've said in the past, they're a very prideful company. They'll never really admit defeat. I think they really need to merge or make a phone, like make an Android phone.
Yeah.
A Nintendo Android phone. I would buy that.
Oh, yeah? With a game controller built into it.
Controller built in and an access to the entire vault of Nintendo software. Ooh. Do a Netflix-style rental thing where I can, for $5 a month, I can buy and I can play any Nintendo game. Like, there are so many ideas, and they just haven't innovated, man. They haven't done anything to keep up, not just with Microsoft and Sony, but with everyone that is just every single day cutting away at their market share.
It's sad because everybody wants them to win, too. Of course. Right? They have an excellent public perception. Of course. People love Nintendo. I love Nintendo. I don't even play video games, but I like seeing the characters.
It's crazy to me.
And they just can't get it together.
They can't get it together. It's very strange. Their marketing is just not where it should be, but where some marketing is where it should be. This is a really interesting campaign being run by Ed Boon, one of the creators of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to get into like specifics of what the product he's actually promoting, but he's doing something really cool. He's sending out these sort of cryptic tweets that all have numbers in them.
Yeah.
He started out with saying how many days are in a leap year in February.
Right.
And then that was 29, and he started counting out 28. And then he said, "Man, I love The Simpsons," and linked to a Simpsons video with the number 27 in it. He's counting down to something. And the countdown is set to expire a few days before E3 2014. So just what is he leading up to? We don't know. Is it a new game involving, his company NetherRealm? They make Mortal Kombat. They made Injustice Gods Among Us, which was a DC Comics fighting game. Really good stuff. Is he ready to announce another fighting game? I would think so. But I just thought the way he's going at it, pretty sick.
The hype is thick.
Yeah. Apparently, Kiefer Sutherland has confirmed that he's working on a Mortal Kombat project. Could that be what Mr. Ed Boon is counting down to? It's possible.
Another Mortal Kombat?
Dude, that Mortal Kombat reboot, best fighting game I've played in a decade.
I've been playing
You've
it,
been playing
actually.
that. Sick, right? Amazing. It's so good. So I'd love to see, what's happening. And we'll all find out in just 27 short days.
Cool.
All right. Let's get to a few emails. We got a lot of contact. We're still freaking people out across the planet about the UVB hidden messages, number stations, all that stuff. This I thought I wanted to read because it was kind of like a no-brainer, and I just thought it was funny that someone was telling us this. Kevin writes in and says, "Hey, I had never heard of that UVB 76 signal before, but after listening to that show, I immediately thought of the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. Yeah, we've heard of that. We've heard of Contact." He said the idea for that movie must have come from UVB 76, and so kind of had that in the back of our head, a little bit. Paul writes in about that Emmer effer. What do we call it? Did we call it the mother effing?
I don't know. I think he's just really excited about the concept. We were talking about putting headphones into the jacks of every armrest.
Right. So he goes, "In 30 seconds, you guys effortlessly hit all of my movie points. My wife loves going to the movies. I don't, for all the reasons Justin had mentioned. Loud kids and adults. Sitting next to a stranger for 3 hours, the texting idiots, etc.
Sticky floors.
Sticky floors. All you added that one in. Sticky floors a problem for you?
Yeah, I hate sticky floors.
I mean, no one enjoys sticky floors, but I'm not avoiding movie theaters because they have sticky floors. It's just soda. It's
you know
not
what
you
it's not the
think
soda.
It is.
It's no.
That's a lot of what you think
I was
it is.
thinking. That's not what I was thinking.
Imagine how much of that.
That's totally not. I swear that's not what I was thinking.
Okay.
You know what I was thinking? It was like dried butter, that like liquid butter. Have you seen that station they have? Oh, at the Battery Park movie theater, there was but not even that. Like, so we saw this pump station right next to the where all the condiments are, and they have this like butter reservoir.
Yeah,
and the pump itself is so long that you can push it down for like a solid 45 seconds and just have streams of this liquid butter coming out. It is so. There was this girl that was literally just like holding the bucket underneath, pressing down, and like moving the bucket around
like it was soft serve.
for like a solid minute. We just watched her and just cracked out.
I'm sorry, man. The guy to my left is talking about how gross a butter, fountain is, but I look at what you eat, man. It's not much different.
But she probably cleaned off that. You should clean that thing out over the course of an hour and a half. And if you had measured that in a cup, I'm sure it would be, I don't know.
So like holier than thou. Oh my God. Okay, bacon sandwich, Larry. I'm sure there's no butter in that process.
Savages.
All right. Either way, we totally identify. He says he agrees. The Battery Park City AMC is legit. That's the only place I go. It's tolerable. But yeah, we're hitting first world problems here for sure.
Oh, so Ken sent us an email about the same thing, and he was telling us about how in Korea they've opened up Beats by Dre collaborative movie theaters. I didn't see that when I was there. But he says that all the seats have their studio headphones built in, just like we talked about. And then they all have one-time sanitary ear pads that you can wear on them, so you don't have to worry about earwax getting
Problem
in your
solved.
ear. Yeah, it's a collaboration between a cinema chain in Korea called CGV and Beats Electronics.
Oh, they're all bootleg Beats by Electronics.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Is that bad to say?
I think
that's
China
okay.
has all the bootlegs. Korea might be okay.
Korea's legit.
But that sounds pretty cool. If we can get that going with non-Beats by Dre headphones, maybe
Just sound
lucrative.
canceling.
Yeah.
And you know what it is though? The second that happens, then the phones will start to like really annoy you and stand out more.
Oh yeah.
There's just no way of getting around it. You'll just have to wait 2 weeks for the movie to come out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's how long it's taking these days. Totally.
And then finally, Kylie writes in and says, I've got 2 cents to add to the number stations conversation. My friend posits that these number stations were originally created and still used to brainwash Russian prisoners.
No background. Like, he has no further detail.
That's
just
it.
Thinks that.
I think they might be messages to Russian covert missions or even signals into space as a "we're out here" message.
Sorry, we out here.
No,
Not we're out here.
We're out here. Still sounds creepy as
I don't know.
Yeah, it's creepy for sure.
I need some citations on those claims. I mean, they're not bad, but
You can claim anything.
yeah, I wanna hear a little more about those sources.
You don't need a background check or a reference or source to claim anything. Hello. Nice. Yes. 10 points if you know what that's from. Finally, some programming notes that we need to tell you fine people about. I lied to you. I lied to everyone. I lied to the entire internet. Katie Linendahl had to cancel again tomorrow.
Again, that's 2 lies.
She's lying a lot to us. She promises that she'll be back. So right now we've got her tentatively scheduled for the week after next, or perhaps the end of next week. We're still emailing back and forth. Don't worry, she's not canceled for good. She is coming at some point. Also, Andrew WK. That is a week from today with a live musical performance as well. Mm-hmm. Go to our subreddit and participate in the thread we've got going. It's called Andrew WK is coming back and we need your help. Help us come up with ideas that we can pitch to Andrew WK as he is making up this song on the spot. He doesn't want them before. He's going to do it all live. He's going to come up with it off the dome, off that amazing head of hair dome. Okay? So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have him on 1 week from today. I'm so psyched to have him back.
I'm very excited too.
Also, Mr. Morgan Spurlock is in our very immediate future. He'll be back as well as Reggie Watts for the first time on 404. That is all coming up later in May, early June. So there's a lot to look forward to on the 404.
Yeah. People want Andrew WK to sing about me being skinny fat, your fear of the sun, Ariel's production work, and then getting lost in a swamp. They're just like, those are some of the themes that people have been requesting.
I think we've got a song there.
So that's just a few of them. If you want your own, email us or contribute to that thread.
There you go. And just to remind you, that's at reddit.com/r/the404. Hit that little subscribe button. You'll get updates whenever we have a cool thread in that subreddit. That's going to do it for us. Shoot us an email, the404@cnet.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that crap. We're back here tomorrow. Hope you have a fantastic Wednesday. Until then, I'm Jeff Bacalar.
I'm Justin Yu.
I'm Ariel Nunez.
This has been the 404 Show, high tech, low brow. We'll see you guys tomorrow.